In order to make compelling and clean layouts in Android, we need to have control over the proportions and also how things are laid out on the screen. I'm going to show you the power of linear layout and how it can help you group your views into things that will make sense not only for you but for the user in a really clean way. So here I have a layout. In fact, I'm going to actually close this guy over here to really focus in on what we're seeing here. And what you're noticing right here is I have this linear layout, and I have 4 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what a linear layout does is it just lays things out in a linear fashion. So I have 4 buttons, and sure enough, we see them laid out one after the other. When you're making this code, don't be generic. Even though we know this is horizontal, we really need to define it. The tag to do that is something called orientation. So even though that wasn't there, at least now I'm being explicit about it. And let me zoom in a little bit here so we can really get into this. This is a layout that is a horizontal linear layout. If I were to change this to vertical, it would now lay out one after the other. Notice how the widths and heights of these things are all wrap content. That just means that they're going to take up enough space to fill in what they are. So in this case, because the text sizes are different, they're different sizes. Okay, well let's say I wanted to actually have 4 even columns. So let's put this back to horizontal. The first thing I'm going to want for columns is for this height thing not to just be the content, but to actually extend the length from the top to the bottom. I want it to be the same as the parent. So I'm going to actually specify match parent for all of my heights. Now the problem that you're seeing already is these aren't really equal. How do we get it to actually conform to 4 equal pieces? What you want to do is, for your container, in this case the linear layout, we want to set a weight sum. Let's say 4, because we want everything to add up to 4. Then for each one of these, we set the layout weight to be 1. So just do this, layout weight 1. Now you notice it actually fills out the screen right now, but red is still taking over. This is where a really cool professional trick comes in that I really love. What it's actually doing is trying to take the layout weight as a calculation of how important it should be, and it's actually calculating it to its neighbors and children. But you can force the kind of way that we think in terms of proportions by using this trick. If I take the weight of being 1, and I take the actual thing I want to be even, so in this case, it's a horizontal layout, so it's really the width that's changing. If I change the width to 0 dp for all items, then no matter what those particular items are containing, I will get an even layout for each of those pieces. This is going to allow you to create really good containers and keep your things in a grid-like fashion, no matter what particular device you happen to be viewing it on. One more thing about layouts. As you get more and more complex layouts, we're going to want to do things besides just laying out things horizontally and vertically. For that, you can nest things. But I highly recommend nesting things from the inside out. Otherwise, what's going to happen is things are going to start moving around, you're going to get lost, because you don't know what things on the inside might affect things on the outside. So in this particular case, let's say I wanted to split this now between these 4 columns, and maybe something on the bottom is a half section. Well, I already have my internal linear layout. So watch what I do. I'm going to take this, because every layout needs to have these pieces in the very beginning. I'm going to create a linear layout outside of it by saying linear layout. Now, immediately it's going to be upset with me because I am kind of going against the bounds of how things get laid out. What I would normally do is just take these guys out, put them with the parent layout, select all of this, tab to indented one, and then put a tag inside. Now I know that looked kind of like a strange jump, but what it's actually doing is making it much easier for me to nest something I know is already working. All I've done is put this linear layout here inside of this one. Well, now if I actually want to say, okay, my layout sum, my weight sum is going to be equal to 2. my orientation is going to be, you know, this section above this section. So I want it to be vertical. Orientation vertical. Now, if I do this, layout weight equals 1. Now, because I'm dealing actually with the height being the thing that changes, I want to change this linear layout's height to 0 dp. Sure enough, I now have that linear layout nested above it. Adjusting your view containers from the inside out like this is going to help you create really good looking UI really fast.